Okay, this is section 1.4, part 1. We are solving linear systems. Today we're going to be learning how to solve linear equations with 3 variables. Okay, in the past, you guys may not have remembered, but you have solved linear equations with just 2 variables. Today, we're going to be learning how to solve these with 3. The 3 variables we'll be solving today are x, y, and z. And the problems will be in this format. It'll be ax plus by plus cz equals d. Okay, where a, b, c, and d are all numbers, right? And today we're going to be solving for x, y, and z. We're going to be solving for those 3 letters. To do that, we need to use elimination. Okay, and what I mean by that is we're going to be getting rid of some variables to solve for others, and I'll go through that in a second. Okay, and our solution is always going to be written in this form. It's going to be written as x first, then y, then z. Okay, in this parentheses-like format, kind of like you would write a point on a grid. Okay, x, y, then z. All right, let's get into this. I'm sure you're somewhat curious, maybe not all the way curious, but I know you're thinking a little bit. How would this work? This first example, don't do it. It's a bad example. Instead, let's go to the second one. Okay, in essence, what we're doing is we are adding these 2 equations together. Just like you would, let's say we had our numbers 12 plus 16. Okay, to do these we'd have 8 and then 2. Right? We're doing the same thing here, in essence. Alright, so let's say I added these 2 together. 2x plus 3x, or 1x would be 3x. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Negative 3y plus a 2y would be minus y equals 3 plus 5, which is 8. Okay, now, this isn't our complete answer, so don't write that down. If you have already, I'm sorry. But don't write this down, because 3x minus y equals 8 doesn't help us at all. Right? We want to solve for x and y in this problem. And we can't really do that. So, what do we have to do? Well, I said we have to use elimination. How do we eliminate numbers? Or how do we, let's say this. How do we eliminate the number negative 6? How do we get that to 0? Because 0 is ultimately our elimination number. To get rid of negative 6, we'd have to add 6, right? Negative 6 plus 6, that's 0. Well, what if I had a positive 7z? Let's just say I had a positive 7z. How would I get rid of 7z? Well, I'd subtract 7z. Right? That is 0. Okay, so there's a couple examples. Now, looking at my equation over here, I have to create an opposite. Right? I have to either get rid of this 2x or 3y. Okay, I have to get rid of one of those variables to solve for the other. So what am I going to do? Well, I see that this is like 1x, right? And 1 and 2 are very, very similar, or not similar, but I can get from 1 to 2 very easily. How can I get from 1 to 2? I can multiply this equation, this bottom equation, by 2. Right? Because 2 times x would give me a 2x. But I want the opposite of 2x. What's the opposite of 2x? Negative 2x. Right? So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by negative 2. Right? So over here, I'm going to get Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 2y is a negative 4y. And negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10. This equation I'm just going to bring right over. Okay, so I have 2x minus 3y is equal to 3. Now, I'm just going to add these together. Okay, 2x minus the 2x, that cancels out. Right, good. That's what we wanted to do. Now we're left with y. We're left with negative 3 plus a negative 4. Y is negative 7y is equal to 3 plus a negative 10 is negative 7. And if you divide by negative 7, you get y is equal to a positive 1. Now, since I found y, I found what y equals, I can plug that either into here, or I can plug it into here. It does not matter. Okay, I'm going to plug it into that top equation. Let's just take it down here. We have 2x minus 3 times 1 equals 3. Solve this, I get 2x minus 3 equals 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. I get 2x is equal to 6. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is equal to 3. Okay, now, how do we write our answer? We always write it in x, y, z format. X, y, z. Okay, so my answer, we only have x and y, is 3, 1. There is my final answer. Alright, let's move into what you guys will be doing with 3 variables. Not just 2, no, 3. Exciting stuff. Yeah, that one. Okay, here we go. You're solving linear systems in 3 variables. I'm excited. Let's do it. Let's start it off. First things first. Only start with 2 of these equations. Okay, and we're trying to eliminate something. So you can either eliminate this top equation. Okay, you can, and it's not eliminate. Sorry, eliminate might be the wrong word. Try to ignore it. All right. Try to ignore one of these equations. So try to ignore this one, or that top one, or the bottom one. Just try to ignore one to start. Right now, I'm going to ignore, and I'm going to ignore this equation. I'm just going to ignore it for right now. Okay, I'm going to only start with these 2 equations. Now, I want to get rid of a variable. It doesn't matter which variable you want to get rid of. Alright? But I'm going to choose the easiest path. I'm going to choose only one equation to multiply. And what I mean by that is I'm going to look for common multiples. So I see 3 and 2. Well, if I were to get rid of the y, I'd have to go to 6, right? I have to multiply that bottom equation by 2 and that top equation by 3. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I only want to multiply one equation. That equation is going to be this bottom one. What am I going to multiply by? Well, I see 2x and 4x. I'm going to multiply this by negative 2. Okay, and I have to distribute that negative 2 to every piece of that equation. So when I write that over here, I'm going to get negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. Negative 2 times a negative 3y is a positive 6y. Negative 2 times a positive 5z is a negative 10z equals negative 2 times a negative 7 is positive 14. Now I have to copy that top equation, bring that over. I get 4x, which is perfect. There's my opposites, right? 4x and negative 4x. I'm going to be getting rid of x. Plus 2y plus 3z equals 12. Okay, and now add these together. Well, 4x plus negative 4x cancels out. Don't even need them. Perfect. 2y plus 6y is 8y. And 3z plus a negative 10z is a negative 7z. And then 12 plus 14 equals 26. Okay, now I have an equation. I'm going to leave it there. Leave it there for right now. Okay? Now I have to go back and start with this bottom equation. And I got rid of x my first time. I have to get rid of x again. And it doesn't matter how you do it. You can either use this equation and this equation, or this equation and this equation. Okay, but we have to use a bottom equation. We have to get rid of x. So, looking here, let's say I wanted to use this top equation and this bottom equation. Notice 4x and 6x. Those aren't common multiples. Well, they do have a common multiple, and it's of 12. But I'd have to multiply this bottom one by 2 and this top one by 3. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. I want to avoid that as much as possible. So, I'm going to do this middle one and this bottom one. And I have to get rid of x, so I have to look right here. How would I get that middle equation to 6x? And specifically, we want negative 6x, right? We want an opposite. Well, what would I do? I'd multiply this equation by negative 3. Okay, because negative 3 times 2x is a negative 6x, and that'll get rid of my x's. Okay, but I have to multiply that negative 3 to every single piece here. I'm going to go below. I'm going to say negative 6x plus a 9y minus a 15z is equal to 21. Okay, again, I took that and brought that right down here. Now, I'm going to take this equation and plug it in right down here. I have 6x minus y plus 4z is equal to negative 3. Adding those together, again, my x's cross out. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get rid of those x's. And I'm left with 9y plus negative y is 8y. 15z, negative 15z plus 4z is a negative 11z. And then 21 plus a negative 3 is 18. Okay. Now, I found my, I got rid of my x's. Now what can I do? I can take this bottom equation here, this equation, and this equation, and put them together. Okay, so right here I have 8y minus 7z equals 26. And I'm going to bring this over. I have 8y minus 11z equals 18. Okay, now, how can I get rid of one of those variables? Well, I can get rid of the y, right? I can get rid of the y very easily. How? I have to multiply by negative 1. It's either the top or bottom equation. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. You choose. You choose. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to multiply this bottom one by a negative. Okay? So, if I scroll, well, I can't really scroll down. To save room, okay, I'm just going to erase this and rewrite it. You guys shouldn't erase. You guys can rewrite that. You have plenty more room than I do. So So I'm going to get negative 8y plus an 11z is equal to a negative 18. Okay? Add those together. Add those together. 8y and negative 8y, they cancel. A negative 7z plus 11z is a 4z. And that equals 26 minus 18, which is 8. Positive 8, yep. Okay, and then divide by 4. We can find z right now. Divide by 4. Z is equal to 2. Hey, we found one. That's awesome. We found one. Now, we can plug z in to one of our two equations here. We can plug it in here. And I know there's going to be a lot of arrows. Or we can plug it in here. Let's plug it into this bottom one down here so it's a little easier to keep track of. So we'll get 8y minus 11 times 2 equals 18. Okay, we'll get 8y minus 22 is equal to 18. Add 22, we get 8y is equal to 40. And then y is equal to 5. Okay, almost there. We need x. There's a lot of steps here. One more. We need to find x. Okay, just to save room, you guys don't erase anything. Okay, I'm going to erase some stuff. Right now I'm going to write y is equal to 5 and z is equal to 2. Okay, now I'm going to scroll. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to show you what you need to do next. You don't get rid of it. Okay? Do not get rid of this. I am. You don't. Okay. Now with this information, we can plug these two numbers up top into here and here. We can plug it into here and here. Does not matter which equation we choose. Doesn't matter. Okay, you will get the same answers if you did your math correctly. Just for the heck of it, I'll go through two of them. I'll choose this top one. Okay, this top one. I will get 4x, and again, I'm plugging those numbers in, plus 2 times 5. That's a plus sign. My writing's just got a little messed up. Plus 3 times 2 equals 12. I will get 4x plus 10 plus 6 is equal to 12. 4x plus 16 is equal to 12. 4x is equal to negative 4 because I subtracted 16. And then x is equal to negative 1. Now, you guys can finish right there. You're done with that problem. You got x, y, and z. Oh, after you write your solution. Okay, I'm going to show you if we plugged it into this equation. Okay, you get 2x minus 3 times 5 plus 5 times 2 equals negative 7. Do the math, you get 2x minus 15 plus 10 is equal to negative 7. 2x minus 5 equals negative 7. 2x is equal to a negative 2. X is equal to negative 1. See, same answer. It's actually a great way to check your work, because if you got a different answer, we messed up somewhere. Okay, but we found that x is equal to negative 1, so our final answer, remember we have to write it in this form, is negative 1, and our y, which is 5, and then our z, which is 2. And that's our final answer. Okay, that is 1.4 part 1. I know on the homework there isn't a whole lot of these three variable equations because they are a lot of work, but there is more than one. So, very important to watch this video and take notes. Okay, understand each step. Might be helpful to go through these notes as you're doing their homework because there are so many steps.